Hello everyone, and welcome to Jibber Jabber's version of Narrative Telephone. For those of you who do not know how the game works, here is the long and the short of it. Narrative Telephone is a game devised by the players of Critical Role to entertain themselves during the pandemic, and I, having the originality of a dry walnut, stole the concept for my own entertainment. As a little shout out, you should absolutely go check out their version of things, they are really funny. The game begins when Person A, our storyteller of choice for the round, records themselves telling a short story. They must then pass that story off to Person B, who will only get to listen to the recording once. Person B then records themselves retelling that story as well as they can before sending theirs off to Person C, and this process repeats through Persons D through E and so on until everyone has had a chance to retell the story, and the final results will be compiled in this video. Naturally, what follows is nothing short of calamitous. Have fun with that.
Hi, Ethil here. Or Aurelia, or that weird, almost elf girl with the sometimes glowy eyes. Anyway, since we all appear to be telling stories recently, I figured I might as well share one from my own people. The nation of Atea has a storied history. We were once the great Elvaan, or Elvish if you prefer, empire. Though we weren't exactly the more benevolent kind. And we didn't exactly undeserve being knocked down a peg, either. But that is also the focus of the story. The fall of the Empire. The tale of the final prince. In the Empire's final days, it is said we were ruled by a mad king. Ruthless, without remorse, the throne's iron grip fanned the flames of rebellion. And, of course, it is no wonder that the king's only son and heir shared in such madness. Some say an outside force contributed to this, while the boy was still in the womb. But I don't know about that. This prince, whose name has long since been lost to time, was as sadistic as they came. It's believed he wished godhood upon himself, and would have done anything and sacrificed anyone to make that delusion a reality. And as he prepared to inevitably ascend to the throne, his attention was piqued by the stories of the one-winged angels, creatures as wondrous as they were terrible. The son poured hours upon hours of research into these mythical and supposedly powerful creatures, and eventually, one of them in particular struck his notice. Said to be the most powerful of them all, and one from another world even. He modelled himself after this mysterious figure, from his clothes and hair, to his everyday mannerisms, and even his weapon of choice. He sought to unlock this being's power for himself, and slowly begun to become a one-winged angel, just as his idol was. But the rebellion was already in motion, and in a great wave the peoples of Atea rose up against the throne. His father deposed, the prince unleashed great horrors upon the rebels, unlike anything they'd ever seen. Unable to be defeated permanently, heroes of light arose to quell this foe, stealing him away in parts unknown. To this day, some say he waits, the one-winged angel, stewing in his madness. Gone, the prince of old, now a reflection of another being, in soul and name entirely. Burning inside with violent anger, a fate so monstrous, empty inside. Also they say, and now Mika can't say I don't read history sometimes. At least when there's fighting and stuff. That stuff's awesome.
Hi, Ethil here, or Arya. That elf girl with the eyes that sometimes glow. Anyway, sounds like we're all sharing stories, so I thought I'd share one of my people. From the great kingdom of Elvaan, or Elven, if you prefer. We weren't exactly the most benevolent people, and we got knocked down a peg because of it. But that is what this story is about. This is the story of the last prince of Ethil, a prince whose name has long since been forgotten. Long ago, there was a mad king who was cruel to his people, and he had a son, the prince, who was just as cruel and twisted as he was. And so proud and vain was he that he wished to obtain godlike qualities. One day, he discovered a race of creatures called one-winged angels. So fascinated was he by these creatures, and specifically by one in particular, the greatest and strongest of all the one-winged angels. And so fascinated was he that he started to mimic everything about him, his daily mannerisms, the way he talked, and he even changed his name and his weapon of choice. But by then, a rebellion was underway. And once the king was denounced, the prince unleashed his fury upon the people. Unable to actually defeat him, the heroes of light band together to seal away the prince. And to this day, he is still sealed away, simmering in his own madness. His face twisted and grotesque. A mere reflection of another being entirely, all the way down to his own name. And it said he's still waiting to be freed. Or so the story goes. But at the very least, Mika can't say that I don't read history anymore. At the very least about battles, those are awesome.
Hello, I'm an elf girl, and I'm here to tell you a story of my people. A people who were kind of evil, but boy howdy did that sure get slapped out of them. Okay, so once upon a time, in the magical elven kingdom, there was a king, and this king was an evil king. And this evil king, gosh, he shot out this ugly little bastard son into his wife, and God, that sucker was just as mean and cruel as he was. So what happened is, the king was like obsessed with power and dominating. He wanted to control the universe, the cosmoses, and be like a god. And he had this unique fascination with these demon things, but this one in particular, which was basically Sephiroth, I guess. And he was simping for this demon, and he like mimicked it. Like he would change his clothes and hairstyle, and what the hell? There's a spider in here. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore him for now. He's not doing anything to me. Yeah, he was basically copying the demon, and to make himself look pretty, I guess. But I don't know. That just never ended up working for himself, because the heroes of light stepped in, and they're like, holy crap, this guy's gonna destroy everything if he simps too hard for this demon. So what they did was they took his son, his evil little cruel ugly son, and they locked him in hell. And there he sat forever, just stewing in hatred. And I guess his dad didn't really love him that much, because he didn't do anything to retaliate. He just kind of rolled over and accepted it. He's like, crap, they did that to my son. Well, what could they do to me? Probably a lot worse, huh? Alright, yeah, I give up the conquering business. Yeah, have a happy day, heroes. Go on your merry way and leave me alone, please. Yeah.
Hello. This time I am an elf girl. Apparently. Not quite sure what this particular character has to do with the story in the long run, but whatever, here we go. Once upon a time, there was an elven kingdom, ruled by an evil king, because of course he was. He had an evil child, who was just as evil as he was. So much evil involved here. He wanted to dominate the world, become a god. He had a fascination with demons, apparently. One that was like Sephiroth from Final Fantasy? I guess we know what setting this story is in this time. The heroes of light appeared and captured the evil son. This therefore, this stopping the evil. So did they capture the king or did they capture the son? I'm not entirely sure. And suddenly this story is a lot shorter than when even Geeky wrote it, and whoever other Tom wrote it. I'm rambling now. Maybe I did better?
Hello. This time I am an elf girl, apparently. I'm not sure why, but there is a story, and I am the elf girl of this story. So here we go. There once upon a time existed an elven kingdom ruled by an evil king. The evil king had an evil child, as they often do. There was actually quite a lot of evil. So much evil. They wanted to dominate the god of demons, or something like that. Also making reference to Sephiroth and Final Fantasy so that we don't lose our setting entirely. The Heroes of Light came and captured the evil sun, thus stopping the evil for good. It is still unknown if they captured the king or the sun, but all that matters is the fact that the evil was in fact stopped by capturing it. I'm not sure. Something tells me that this story manages to get shorter with each retelling. Bananas.
Alright, so basically, I'm at the bar the other night. This fucking weird, long-eared looking bitch came in. She sits next to me at the bar and she starts talking to me about this story. I was a little out of it. It had been like 6 pints in. That's not important, but we're gonna recap this fucking story. So, essentially, this person, she comes from, I don't fucking remember the name of this place, but apparently it's full of fucking elves. And you know me, elves, no go, they're a bunch of assholes. But anyways, apparently this place was like super fucking corrupted by evil. And so this bitch decided to go out and, you know, I guess find people to, you know, kill the evil. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know, this story wasn't that well structured by the time it landed to me. Plus, I think they mentioned some bitch named Setharoth? I don't fucking know. He's the weird-looking motherfucker with the super long sword that literally should not fucking exist. I don't know, this had something to do with Final Fantasy. I don't know how I got here. I got kidnapped and I'm in someone else's basement again. Send help.
One of my customers tried to get out of paying me gil for his bill with a story, a retelling of one, from an individual with long ears. I don't see why an individual's ears is relevant to this, but whatever. I'll let him explain. As the man started, I had to halt him from his ramblings of how much he hates elves before he gets the shit kicked out of him. The man tried again, but this time of an ancient evil that was corrupting the land until the influence of alcohol seeped into his brain cells, causing him to stutter and even lose his train of thought. Claiming, though, that the reason why he was unable to tell that story is because it was poorly structured, which I find highly unlikely. The person tried one last time, but this time he mentioned the one-winged angel named Sephiroth. I have heard many interesting tales of this being, that not one that has the odd weird problem with his sword. To this strange individual, he kept blabbering on of how illogical and this sword's design is, and how it should never existed in the first place. I decided I had enough of this individual's ramblings and just wanted him to pay me the gill so I can get back of serving my customers without delay. But the man turned violent, stumbled towards me until he tripped upon himself and headed headfirst into one of my furnitures, knocking himself out cold. I informed one of my staff members to get security to remove him from my tavern immediately. In the meantime, I keep him out of the way within my cellar until the man is removed from the premises.
And I'm supposed to know what this story is? I don't believe you, but okay. Okay. So, there was this one time when I was running my bar when an individual who was there, a patron, demonstrated he wasn't apparently capable of paying for my services with Gil, and so instead tried to retell, or rather, pay with a story of his. And he started to tell a story that was basically just him rambling on and on about how much he fucking hated elves, even though apparently he had ears too. I stopped him there before he made a complete and total fool of himself and got himself beaten up, because I imagine I have elves in my bar. After that, he tried to tell a story about the one-winged angel Sephiroth. I feel like I'm missing one of the stories. Oh, too late now. The one-winged angel Sephiroth and his sword, which was, according to this individual, really illogical. It made no sense. It was too damn long. It was stupid. So, there was a third story in there. I know there was. I just can't remember it. Fuck you, darkness. But eventually, this man continued trying to tell stories to try and pay for his tap, but it was all just incoherent ramblings, and so eventually I decided to kick him out of my place of business before he made too big of an ass of himself, and he got pissed and he tried to get violent, but it didn't work because in his incredibly drunken state he tripped and plowed face first into some of my furniture. I called on security to have him removed from the premises, and then I just stuffed him in my cellar? I think he's still in my cellar. I get the impression security would have hauled him out a lot faster than that. I wouldn't have had time to lock him in my cellar, so I had security lock him in my cellar, and he's still there. Probably wondering what the fuck is going on. Yeah, what the fuck was any of that?
I'm an elf girl,